Hi, friends. Okay, here's home learning number two, starting with another factoring problem. I take a look at this, and right away I'm thinking GCF. That's my first step, anyways. But I see a bunch of variables and stuff, so right away I'm thinking GCF. So the first thing I notice is that this first term doesn't have a number or it has a coefficient of 1. Um, which means that I don't have a greatest common factor in the numbers, okay? Because this one is 1. So no greatest common factor in the numbers. So now I move on to the variables. I notice that this guy has an x, this guy has an x, this guy has an x. So that means that there's definitely an x in my greatest common factor. And in order to determine the exponent, I just look for the smallest exponent. This guy has an x squared, x cubed, x cubed. So my smallest exponent is squared. So I'm going to add that. And then I move on to the y's, and I notice this guy has a y, this guy has a y, this guy doesn't have a y, so no y in common. So that means that x squared is my entire greatest common factor. So now what I need to do is I need to move on to okay, what goes inside the parentheses? In other words, what do I multiply x squared by in order to get this polynomial? So we're going to take it one step at a time. So what do I multiply x squared by in order to get x squared y? I have to multiply by y plus. What do I have to multiply x squared by to get 3x cubed y squared? Well, I need to multiply by a 3 I have to multiply x squared times x in order to get x cubed, and then I have to multiply x squared times y squared in order to get that y squared up there. Okay, so good so far, plus, what do I multiply x squared by to get 5x cubed? Well, I have to multiply by 5, and then x squared times x gives me my x cubed. Okay, so there's that one. And if you wanted to check that, you could distribute, okay? And then you would see that you would get the same thing, the original. You're going to get that back if you multiply this out. Okay, moving on to the next one. Factor a squared plus 10a plus 16. So is there a greatest common factor? Well, this doesn't have a number in front. So there's no greatest common factor in the numbers. And then this one has an a, this one has an a, this one doesn't have an a. So there's no greatest common factor here. And it is set up like a nice trinomial. Okay, so that means this is one of these guys. Just a regular trinomial. A times a gives me a squared. And now I have to figure out two numbers that multiply to give me 16 and add to give me 10. Well, this is an easier one than yesterday, I think. 8 and 2. Positive 8 and positive 2 multiply to 16 and add to 10. All right, done there. Next, we are going to slide this up. I got two Regents Review problems for you today. Okay, so the first one. The first one is a multiple choice, and I want to make sure that we are discussing multiple choice strategies when they apply. And this is a case where you don't really need to know how to do this problem in order to answer it. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's talk about how you would do this sort of like the algebra way so that we are practicing our skills. So the first thing I notice is that this is an expression. There's no equal sign. It does say which expression. And equivalent to means the same. So I'm looking for which of these is the same as this. So basically what this is asking me to do is asking me to simplify. So simplify is distribute, combine like terms. So I'm going to distribute. So 2 times x squared gives me 2x squared. 2 times negative 1 gives me negative 2 plus 3x times x gives me 3x squared. 3x times negative 4 gives me negative 12x. Now I'm done distributing. Now it's time to combine like terms. I have a 2x squared and a 3x squared. Remember, like terms is same variable, same exponent. And then we're just going to combine those, which means add. So 2x squared plus 3x squared is 5x squared. I notice that I got a negative 12x here. He doesn't have anybody in common with him. So he's just coming down, and the negative 2 also has nobody in common. So there's my final answer, 5x squared minus 12x minus 2. Okay, now there is a multiple choice strategy for this. You have 4 answer choices. One of them is the correct one, and you have a graphing calculator. So what we could do now that we are very savvy with the calculator is you could go into Y1 and you could put this guy in exactly as it's written. And then in Y2, put your first answer choice. And then you're going to look at the tables, and if the tables match, they're equivalent. And if the tables don't match, they're not equivalent. Does that take more time than doing this? Yeah, probably, especially considering the fourth one is going to end up being the correct answer. But it's okay that it takes more time if it leads us to a right answer. I wouldn't necessarily expect you to use the strategy if you already know how to do the problem. But I would expect you to do the strategy if you get here and you're like, I don't know how to do this. It's better to take the time to use the calculator than to just guess or skip the problem. This was an early problem on the Regents, which means it's quote unquote one of the easier ones. So you need to get these multiple choice questions right if you're going to have a shot on the Regents exam. So this goes in Y1, answer choice goes in Y2, one at a time. Check to see if the tables match. If they don't, you don't have to retype Y1. You only have to retype Y2, Y2, Y2 until you eventually get to the correct answer. All right, last problem. If g of x equals negative 4x squared minus 3x plus 2, determine g of negative 2. You guys know how to do this. I'm going to take negative 2 and I'm going to plug it in everywhere where I see an x. And of course, we have a calculator strategy for this. Whoops. Let's make that a negative 2. So negative 4 times negative 2x negative 2 squared minus 3 times negative 2 plus 2. Okay, choices. Choice number 1, go into the calculator and type this entire thing exactly as you see it. With the negative 2's and everything, you just type that into your calculator and you hit enter. And if you did it like I did it, you should end up with negative 8 as an answer. Option number 2, go into Y1 and type this guy with the X's. Put that in Y1, go to your table, and go to negative 2 on the X column, and you should see a negative 8 there in the Y column. So that's another way to do this problem. And that is it for home learning number 2. We'll see you tomorrow.